What's going on, folks? Thanks for joining me for another Duck Gun podcast episode. I had to jump in the front of this, guys, because as you will see shortly, that the podcast on today's video episode of the podcast has no video. So somehow, this is the first time this has happened since I've been recording the video file got corrupt. So what I did, overlaid some scenes from the hunt throughout the thing. So throughout the video. You still have the speech from us. We're driving in the truck. You'll be able to tell that, and then there'll be time lapses and stuff like that going on in there. So just wanted to let you know why it's looking different. But stay tuned, guys. We're going to jump into the NODAK 2024 early season trip. I don't have a name for it yet, but here we go.
So you don't want to take the intro?
No.
Just push the red button at the top. And then fade it out with the thing as it goes.
This one here?
Yep. Sure you don't want to take it?
Welcome to the Duck Gun Podcast. Coming to you live, or at least live for us, on I-90 in somewhere. Maybe I can't say it that way. But we're in the state of Wisconsin.
I don't think he'll care if you say somewhere in Wisconsin. So. Reference.
I have with me today the host of the Duck Gun Podcast, the one and only Jordan Fromer.
And I think that is actually a true fact.
I am Duck Gun Dad, and I'm not the one and only Eric Fromer.
I'm the only Jordan Fromer we know of. Now, you got to hit the red button again to turn the intro music off. There you go. What's going on, folks? Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Duck Gun Podcast. Got Dad with me, Duck Gun Dad, and we are on our way to North Dakota, early goose season, something that's new for both of us. So we are excited for that. And you made a little bit of reference to our buddy Chase from somewhere in Wisconsin, so I'm sure he doesn't mind us mentioning him on the podcast for sure. I was actually just talking to him this week. I need to get him back on sometime here in the future. But, we are excited to be hopefully on some honkers here in just a couple days.
Mm-hmm.
So
I ended last year with a banger honker hunt, and so I'm looking forward to keeping the momentum.
It wasn't a banger as far as like numbers go and like quantity, but like the quality of the hunt was awesome. The quality of like the decoy of the birds and just like the setting and everything. It was like a beautiful like bluebird day, and the geese that wanted to come in, came in like with reckless abandon, and we had it was a fun hunt. We hunted out of the new blinds that I've got. And it was just a fun one. So, I have a few questions for you, kind of leading into this. Kind of been thinking about how to, which way to go. But I guess maybe we should, before we dive too deep in it, let's get a quick word from our partners. Quick thank you to our partners on the podcast. And then, like I said, we're on our way to North Dakota. So this is day one officially of the trip. We're coming live from the duck truck en route. So. Let's get a quick word from the partners, and we'll jump to all of that, and you'll hear all our plans that we got coming for this week. So first off, I'd like to give a big thanks to Flight Day Ammunition. Guys, Flight Day Ammunition makes premium bismuth shotgun shells, and you guys heard the podcast with Ben Myers here recently, and I am super excited to be running his shells this coming season. Upstand guy, family, homegrown kind of property they have out there in Missouri, and he's just kind of your like blue collar, gritty, hardworking American company shotgun shells. So definitely check them out, guys. Not only that, we've talked about the benefits of bismuth on the channel for years, and so I'm beyond excited to be shooting bismuth this year and shooting Ben Myers' load there, the Flight Day Ammunition. So check them out over there. Use code DUCKGUN over there to get you 10% off. If you get to $100 on the order, you get free shipping as well. Also like to give a big thanks to OnX. Guys, OnX on trips like this is like it's just unimaginable how much harder it would be to find spots, to find landowners to knock on doors, to find out what's private and public. We'd be having to do old school style with like a paper map. So, Dad, I'm sure you know all about that, but we are
good old days.
We're glad to have, technology is not great on a lot of things, but one thing I'll tell you that I'm glad we got technology for is like map services like OnX. Going to make this trip freelancing out there just so much easier and more successful. Also like to give a big thanks to Weatherby. Guys, Weatherby makes some awesome waterfowl shotguns. They've been just upping their game for the last couple of years, probably more than any other shotgun company that I can imagine. And they've in the last few years they came out with their 18i, which is a great shotgun. I love the 20 gauge 18i, the Ryan side by side, and the Sorex. It's gonna be. I got that one with me this year. It'll be the first time getting it out in the field. I did shoot a turkey with it. But, you don't get too much practice in turkey season, just one shell and you're done with it. So I did great on that one shell, but I have no doubt it's going to be an awesome waterfowl shotgun again. And then the camo job they did on it, it's superb. So if you haven't looked at them, go to Weatherby and check out their shotguns. If you're in the market for them, consider them one of the best out there in the market. Another new partner we got, guys, is Dirty Duck Coffee. And Dad, you've always been a coffee drinker, so you're going to get to try some of that over this trip. Brought a couple bags of the Dirty Duck coffee, and you've been a believer in Folgers, I think, since I was a kid. And
that's what my dad drank, so that's what I drink.
Yeah.
I just like good old black, dark as I can get it coffee.
Right. So Dirty Duck does have some like that. I think they have one that's called Dark. It's Dark Dynasty. Unfortunately, I already finished that bag, so we won't have as dark for you to try, but we'll have some other stuff. It is premium coffee, and I've drank Folgers probably because you drank Folgers, and that's just what I went to Walmart and got, and I can tell you right now that going to Dirty Duck Coffee is an upgrade from kind of your standard run-of-the-mill coffee. It's a premium coffee. It's made Duck Hunter coffee. It's by Duck Hunter for duck hunters. And, again, it's a small, homegrown family company. I love supporting guys like that and having guys like that supporting the content as well. And a part of everything that they make from their coffee, they put back into conservation, into youth hunting. So definitely a good cause as well. And it's good duck hunting coffee for all us duck hunters. So check them out over there, Dirty Duck Coffee, and you can use code DuckGun over there as well to get yourself a good old discount. So without further ado, let's jump back to the main meat of the podcast. Like I said, Dad, we are on our way to North Dakota. My GPS is trying to tell me where to go. We're still on the same road, so we're good. And our first stop actually isn't going to be North Dakota. We're going to be stopping at the boat. Are you excited to see it in the flesh or in the wood, I guess?
I am. I've watched all of the videos leading up to the season. I've listened to all the podcasts about it. I talked to you in person a lot about it. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm looking forward to spending the night there, and then maybe looking forward to being able to hunt on it later on this fall. So.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm excited for you to see it, too. It's obviously been a big part of this year, and it's going to be a big part of the season, too. So, and you get to see it kind of all fancied up opposed to, like, when it was a sorry sight. So, but, yeah, that's going to be our first stop. And then we're going on another duck hunting trip. So, well, I guess it's a goose hunting trip, waterfowl trip, all encompassing there. But I was trying to think over the years. Do you know how many, or which ones specifically, which trips we've been on together?
Oh boy. Well, honestly, my first duck hunt was when we went to southern Indiana.
Yeah.
And hunted. I'll just say down there in the southwestern part of Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we hunted together some before that, upland birds, and I grew up on squirrels and rabbits. So, but that was a fun duck hunt. I shot my first duck. It was a blue-winged teal, and old Chief brought it right to me, and that was a memorable hunt for a lot of reasons.
Right, yeah.
That was it, and then I went to the UP with you. I went to Kansas with you for the first Flyways Collective.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Right, seen a lot of our YouTube buddies.
Yep, we went to Saginaw Bay and did a layout hunt.
We got to Minnesota.
I went to Minnesota last year during the Chasing the Opener series. So, I don't know. That's about all of them.
Right,
that I've gone on serious trips with you.
Right, yeah. I think that's about what I could remember, too. So, did you ever think, kind of a lot of our outdoor activities started out camping and fishing, and, here we are, I'm 35 this year, so we probably started camping when I was about 5, so like 30 years later.
Yeah.
Did you ever imagine that we'd still be going on? They've definitely increased in the amount of adventureness, I would say.
Oh, definitely.
From going to like the local county campground to
yes,
to
what we do now.
Right, the 14-hour trek to North Dakota.
Exactly. There are times where I wish that we would have worked hunting into our camping trips. After some of the hunting trips we've been on, I'm like, wow, I wish we'd have done this when you were younger. But the backstory on the annual camping trip, I think you know the backstory.
Right.
So Jordan, and I don't think I've ever told this on the podcast, but Jordan, my wife and I have 5 kids, and there's 4 girls, and Jordan is right in the middle of the 4 girls. He has 2 older sisters, 2 younger sisters. And some friend of ours, when the kids were little, said, "Are you worried that Jordan's going to grow up and be a sissy?" It's like, with having 4 sisters, it's like, okay, well, no, I don't think so. But but Mom had this idea then to kind of make sure that it was her idea for us to have a guys-only camping trip every year, and it turned into many summers, twice a summer. But we would go camping somewhere, and we went to a few different places, and we always worked fishing into the camping trip, and then later in life we worked golf into the camping trip.
Yeah, I remember that.
So those were, we've got a lot of good memories about those.
Right. Yeah, and definitely a lot of fond memories. I remember, those are some of the first times I remember, like, being outside and like watching the sunrise kind of thing. And I can't remember which one it was at, but I remember you kind of like pointing out, like watching how fast, like the perspective of the sun coming over the horizon compared to like when it's in the top of the sky. And those are probably things that like you maybe don't remember the specifics of because like, when you're like 6 or something, it's a little bit more, I guess it leaves more of an impression on you. But I definitely remember that. We always talk about one of them where it was like bobber down every 5 seconds. And we had a giant fish fry, and we made, like, that was probably the only time that we had like more fish than we could eat.
Oh yeah, so, I remember that one.
Yeah, so definitely some good times doing that, and it's definitely evolved, past that. And it's like you said, it would have been cool to do the hunting, but it wasn't something that was even on your radar, like waterfowl hunting, and it really wasn't on mine either. As a youth, we didn't grow up in contact with another family that waterfowl hunted. You know what I mean?
Right. Everybody we knew that hunted.
They're deer hunters.
They were deer hunters, yeah. And, we knew nothing else. Well, I didn't even know any turkey hunters back then. And, yeah, no waterfowl hunters. And we knew, in my hometown, we knew some upland bird hunters.
Right. Right. And I don't know, I've told so many different parts of like how I got into the waterfowl hunting, But, you know, I'm trying to think if I've ever told it in this way. I probably have over the years because, I mean, I've talked so much on on this podcast and so many others that I just don't remember exactly every detail of every story I've ever told. But, like, part of me getting into waterfowl was realizing that there was no upland because that was what I knew. You know, that's what Grandpa did, and he lived back in the day when upland was a bigger thing. You know, there was more upland to be had and more access, and you know, the farms, you know, they had all the fence rows, and there was small scale, and there was better habitat and worse farming equipment, so more food for the upland and all that kind of goes into it. So, you know, when I got Grandpa's gun and I got my dog, I'm like, okay, I should hunt, you know, and you start looking it up and realize that there's no pheasants or very few, unhuntable amount of pheasants in Indiana. And there is, you know, there is some quail, but again, far and few between. So, right. And that's kind of what led me to looking up duck hunting and realizing that duck hunting was a thing in our area. And you still, you know, compared to a lot of places in the country, there's not a lot of opportunity where we live, but enough, you know, enough to be doing it. Well enough to be doing it, I should say. It's obviously no North Dakota, but most states and most places aren't. So, but that kind of leads me to you know, what we're doing. So I guess I should give a little bit of a lowdown on North Dakota. So North Dakota has the earliest goose opener that I know of, and I've seen guys do it for a few years and always kind of wanted to, and now finally, I shouldn't say finally, it's not like I've been waiting for this exact trip, you know, forever, but I realized that the opportunity would be available this year just like a week ago, because as many of you guys know, I'm doing this full time now. And Dad, also congratulations to you. You are retired this year.
That's right.
So
this is my first post-retirement hunt.
Right. So it's my first full-time hunt as well, full-time content creator hunt. So it worked out perfectly that our schedules kind of lined up where you got some free time, and I have the availability to hunt now too with everything I'm doing. So I called you up and said, hey, and honestly, I expected you to not, you know what I mean? I thought maybe it would be more than what you wanted to do. So I was surprised when you said yes. Yeah. So well, pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, when you first asked me, I was like,
we'll see. We got like 4 or 5 days to figure out if you're going to regret it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, like I said, pleasantly surprised that you're ready to jump in the truck, haul out there. And one thing I'm super glad about, too, kind of looking at the forecast, is a couple guys we talked to, they told me the kind of stories about being out there in, like, the heat where it was, like, touching 100 degrees every day. And that would be just downright, like, miserable, I think. Yeah. So our forecast is, like, we're hitting, like, upper 50s some days and lower 60s the other days, like 61 and, like, overcast 10-mile-per-hour wind. Like, that's going to be cool, you know, compared to the summer temperature we're used to. Now, if that happens in, like, late October, you know, then you'd be, like, sweating. But, you know, at the end of the summer, it feels pretty good. So, yeah, and then you know, we're going to be freelancing. We're going to be going to find either private land spots, unposted spots, digitally posted spots. OnX is super helpful. Like I said that in the intro part, talking about the partners. But every time we come out here to North Dakota, we got to figure that stuff out. And we never go back to the exact same place. And maybe we should, so that you get some amount of information back from the last time. But it's mind-boggling, honestly, getting out in North Dakota and seeing, like, the amount of land and the amount of waterfowl and the amount of potholes. It's so cool. So I'm excited for you to see all of that as well. But the other thing about North Dakota, which is really insane, is the limit of geese is 15 per person per day, and then your possession limit is 3 days, so that's 45 geese. So what do you think, Dad? Are we going to hit our possession limit over the 4 days we're going to hunt?
No, it would be really cool if we did, but I don't want to set my expectations to that.
Right. I would be utterly shocked if we had 90 geese.
We'd have to buy more coolers, probably.
Right. We'd have to buy some more coolers or learn how to eat really fast. Can you imagine trying to eat? Like, how many geese do you think reasonably you could eat in one meal?
Oh, probably just one goose.
Like one goose. So you could eat 3 geese a day.
Let's see.
That'd be like 6 pounds. 6 pounds of meat. That'd be a lot, even in a day. Yep. So yeah, the goal is to. Get on some. Like, we know it's not a surefire thing. Anytime you field hunt, and then early season, there patterns can be sporadic, and so our expectations, I'm really hoping to have like one really good hunt and one run-of-the-mill hunt, and then the other 2 busts. That's kind of my expectations going into it. I'd love to have one really good hunt and like 3 mediocre hunts. I'd love to be like, I think that would be really successful to have that. But I just don't think that's the nature of the beast coming out here for early season goose, just from the people I've talked to. So, but we got a lot to learn. I mean, it's totally dependent on you and me, Dad. We can't blame anybody else for our failures, or nobody else can take the credit for our successes. So it's really honest, and that's kind of I love that perspective of like the freelance hunting style, where you just go out and try to figure it out. What do you think about all that, Dad?
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree. I always try to pep talk myself into, take good shots. Don't waste shots. Try to be, make sure you're on it before you pull the trigger. And that, my tendency, and maybe this is everybody's tendency, is to get excited. They're coming in, and just. For me, almost everybody else I hunt with shoots before I do, and that makes me tend to want to try to hurry, and I need to just not hurry. So my goal is to shoot X number of geese and spend X number of shells.
Yeah, that's a good goal to have. So what you want to put predictions? You want to lay that on the line?
Okay, well, I'll predict that we, for the whole trip, altogether, I'll predict 40 geese.
I think that's a little high, but that would be. I'm going to predict. I think
that's an Indiana limit for each of us every day.
Yeah. All right,
for both of us.
Yeah, I mean, I would be very happy with those numbers, and we'll see. You said you came in with tempered expectations, but
well, that's less than half of what we could.
Right. That's right. We could. Technically, we could shoot 120 if you ate.
If you eat a lot.
If you ate 30 geese, so
we'll just set up a big barbecue and.
Invite the locals. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to guess that we're going to shoot, I'm going to say 23. That would be, I hope it's more than that. Actually, I don't know. I'd still be happy, I think, over 4 hunts. We talked about our hunt there at the beginning. You said it was a banger, and we shot 5 between the 2 of us. So
right,
but
so it wasn't about the quantity on that hunt.
Right.
It was definitely about the experience, the way they decoyed, and especially that very last pair. I mean, it was perfect.
Yeah, so there's
fun.
There's still a chance that we shoot more than that, but as that's just my tempered expectations. And my goal would be to beat that number. But if I shot that number, I think I'd be happy. if we shot that together, 23 over 4 hunts, 2 fellas.
Yep.
So, what are you looking most forward to about being out here in North Dakota?
Oh boy. Well, it's my first time to be ever in either of the Dakotas, so I'm looking forward to just seeing it and experiencing a hunt in a different place, a different style. It seems like we're going to not be in the water. I think our plan is to almost exclusively field hunt, but, we've got gear to hunt in the water if we need to. But I guess I feel like from the things you've said that plan A is to field hunt. So that'll be, I've field hunted some with you, but that'll be kind of a fun experience to be able to just be on the ground and stay dry, and
right.
It'll be,
yeah.
It's a different kind of a hunt, so that's kind of what I'm gonna enjoy.
Definitely. So let's do a little bit of a gear breakdown, kind of like what we use for early season goose hunting. So to break it down, to start with decoys, and if you guys heard me talk about goose hunting, it doesn't stray too far from that. But the big, I always run silhouettes. I know a lot of people love full bodies, but like we don't know if we'll have to walk in, or if we'll be able to drive our truck in, or if we're canoeing in, or what. But like if we're in the field, I got silhouettes. If we're like on like some type of shallow slough or like flooded area, then like the silhouettes still work great for that. But we just brought 5 dozen. Maybe I should have brought 10 dozen. I was on the fence, but it's just the 2 of us, and we gotta. The other thing is we gotta know how much we're gonna have to work on each thing. We gotta carry like chairs, blinds. We gotta set it all up, silhouettes, our guns, our blind bags, all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, okay, I was in between going like 5 dozen, which is 1 bag of the final approach silhouettes, or 2 bags, which would be 10 dozen. So what were we going to say, Dad?
And whatever geese we shoot, we will have to carry those out too.
Right. Unless we can drive in. In some of these fields we can drive in.
Nice.
So hopefully. I think it's been dry, but actually it's supposed to rain Wednesday and Thursday. So yeah, it might. It's tough to know what that's going to look like. But so that's what we do for that. We'll be running like family groups, which probably just like 1 dozen sets of silhouettes around. And then I'm always a big believer, even in the wheat fields in the A-frame. I think we'll be all right doing that and successful doing that. So we didn't bring layouts. We just brought the A-frame. You didn't really get much of a choice. I just kind of grabbed what what I thought, and we went with it. So we got nobody to blame if they don't finish but me. But I'm a firm believer in it, and I think we'll be fine running that. People always worry about that in wheat for whatever reason, like because it's so flat, I think, and so uniform in like the length, whereas like cornfields are a little bit more sporadic. But still, it's like you're still sticking way out of a cornfield, and you're still sticking way out of a cut wheat field. They're both cut, to be specific. So that's the plan for that. If we do go with water, brought the canoe. We got the Radisson 14-foot. That thing is super lightweight, so we'll be able to like pull it over to any like potholes or anything like that and paddle across. I think I brought like 1.5 dozen of the final approach last pass decoys, which those are like the smaller version Canadas. They're definitely like way bigger than the mallard, but they're not that much. They're a little bit smaller than the regular geese. So for that reason, they actually sell them at a much more affordable price. And I really don't think that the geese can tell that big of a difference using like a little bit smaller goose. And just like when we're doing mobile setups like this, you can get that much more of your spread in the canoe. So that is if we hunt water or pothole or something, or a loaf or something like that as well. So we're leaving our options open. And then I'll be running the Sorex, the Weatherby Sorex. And what, you're still shooting your A5?
Yep. I don't have a collection like you do, so That's my waterfowl gun.
There you go. And I'm going to be running the Flight Day 3-inch 3s bismuth. That's just been my go-to goose load for a long time. It's just a hard hitting, and it's going to be super hard hitting with that premium bismuth. And I got the improved modified. I know Ben's going to tell me that I need to go full, but man, I don't like going much fuller than improved modified. What about you?
Well, I've got Boss 4.5 shot size.
It's 3.5, right?
Yeah. Yes, 3.5. And I hadn't thought about choke yet, but I brought all my choke set. So
okay. Probably modified.
Yep. Whatever. Well, I mean, you've got an idea of the distance we're going to be shooting, so
7 yards.
So based on that,
no.
So based on that, I'll go with what you think.
Right.
Works,
I mean, every day it's a little different whether they're going to finish all the way into the A-frame or not, or if we're in the cattails, and it just depends on what the birds are picking out or not. And my experience is early season, they don't always seem to be onto the game yet, so you can get away with a little bit more. They pick up on it pretty quick, though. So, yeah. Well, we're excited for it, guys. We're going to be back on the road tomorrow. We're going to get there, and straight away we're going to start scouting. Hopefully we find a feed out there and cut wheat. We got word that the wheat's been cut in some of the places already. So we'll be out on the road trying to find a feed, knock on some doors, get some permission, or find a midday loaf, and go from there. It's gonna be an adventure. That's all we can guarantee. That we're gonna try our darndest to shoot as many geese as we can, and get as close as we can to like what we legally can possess.
Right.
And in those 4 days.
Well, we've got all day, every day to do it.
Right. Got all day, every day. I don't think that we'll stay out and do any dawn to dusk hunts, though, in goose season. So, all right. Well, this is probably a good place to wrap it up, guys. Stay tuned. We'll have on the road podcast coming to you all of this early goose trip we're doing. I'm Jordan, Duck Gun Chronicles, Duck Gun Dad, and we'll see you guys on the next one. I'm going to hit the record button, too.